Chat Box. I'm Emily Regalado, and this is my co-host,
Hannah Algie.
Let's dive into the wonderful world of books. So we're here basically to bring you a weekly book club experience, and every week we'll go over a different book and basically say whether or not we recommend you read it. So Hannah, what are we talking about this week?
This week we are talking about the book Say You Swear. It is a romance novel, and we chose this book because it's the month of love. It is Valentine's, and we wanted to get in the mood, so that's why we chose Say You Swear. Emily, what's it about?
So basically, Say You Swear is about a bunch of college-aged students, their freshman year going into college. It's like a group of friends that they're actually going to college together and experiencing that as a group. And it basically goes into their daily lives and a relationship that kind of buds within the group, and then one that buds with like outside the group, and it kind of all converges together, and it's just crazy.
Major love triangle vibes.
Yeah, for sure. And basically that's about that. But tell us a little bit more about the characters, Hannah.
Yeah, so Ariana is the main character. We mainly hear from her throughout the book. She is the center of the love triangle, but she is kind of just like a lovable character who just wants to find love, and she's very relatable. She's a good character to read about, and she's very interesting. That's one good thing about the book, is that there's a lot of characters, and we get to know all of them really well since they're such a close-knit friend of groups, or friend group. But yeah, so Ariana's the main character, and then we also have other important characters that we hear from their point of view, so it's nice to hear from other characters' perspectives as well.
And so that gets us into like the prose of the book, which I think is definitely being able to see through other point of views, and you get to see each character within the love triangle, their point of view, and like what they're thinking throughout the book, which it's unnerving, but also like better, because then you get to like understand every character and not just like Ariana. So that's definitely one of the pros. And I also think it being a college like book and having this chat box like about college basically, it is super relatable to like our experiences for sure. And there are also like some cons. I know you had some reservations when reading it. Can we talk about that?
Yeah, so I got like 20 pages in and then had to put it down because I was like, I'm so confused. There are so many characters and they're all introduced so quickly. You learn to love that part of the book and learn to love all the characters and be able to distinguish between the characters, but for the first like 20 to 50 pages it is so confusing trying to figure out.
I was like, who is this?
Yeah, like who is who, other than Ariana, of course, the main character, but it definitely gets a little bit confusing. And other than that, just the length of the book, I would say the length was definitely necessary, but it is on the longer side. It's like 540 pages, so it's
necessary long for that like one plot twist that you're like, where did that come from? Now it's a totally completely different book, which I liked. But definitely that plot twist, that's why they had to make that book so long. But if we had to rate it out of like 5 stars, what would you rate it?
I would give it like a little over 4. Like immediately after finishing it, I'm like 5 stars. But now like marinating in it, I'm like 4 stars.
I think I'd even give it maybe like a 3.5, honestly, because definitely there was a lot of unexpected themes that came in, which if anyone gets like triggered easily, there are some trigger warnings. There's like loss and grief and definitely like suffering in there that you wouldn't have expected when you first started reading those like first 200 pages. And then you get into it and it kind of turns dark. But if you're into that type of stuff, definitely read it.
I definitely cried.
I cried like 3 times. But moving on, so also a part of our book series that we want to highlight is, a part of our book chat that we'd like to highlight is that we have a surprise book series. And so I brought Hannah here today to talk about
my favorite series. It is called, the Fine Print series. It's actually called like the Dreamland Billionaires, but we're calling it the Fine Print series. But it's basically 3 books, and they all have different plots, but they all go together. That's my favorite series ever. Have you read it?
So I actually haven't gotten around to reading it. I'm currently tackling Okatar, like A Court of Thorn and Roses, but I really want to get into the fine print series. So can you like tell me a little bit about like each book? Because I know it's based on like different characters, if I'm right about that.
Yeah, so basically it follows 3 brothers whose grandfather just passed away, and he was the owner of Dreamland, which is the book's version of Disney World.
Okay.
And when he passed away, in his inheritance or his will, for the brothers to receive their inheritance, they had to complete a task set by their grandfather. So each book follows a different brother and their task, and them trying to complete their task to receive their billions and billions of dollars that they want. So throughout the book, we learn more about each brother, or each book we learn about each brother, but they all tie together. You still need to read them in order to understand it all, and then the final book, we kind of see what happens with all of them earning their inheritance, whether they do or they don't.
Right, but my thing is, if they're already billionaires, like why is this inheritance like so important to them?
So it's also really important to them because they also get ownership in Dreamland, and they don't like their father. So they don't want him to be the owner of Dreamland. They want to be the owners of Dreamland. So if they don't complete their tasks, then their father becomes the owner.
Oh,
so they're like, it's about the money, but they're also like, we don't want our father to be the owner. We want to be the owners.
Right.
So yeah.
Okay, that's cool. And so if you had to like give a genre for this book, like what would you put it under?
Definitely romance. All 3 books follow like relationships, and I'm 99% sure all 3 are told from the both point of views, the girl and the boy and the guy. Yeah. But it's definitely romance. There's not really any sort of like major plot twists or anything like that, but I would say they're still like pretty unexpected. Like you wouldn't really expect the endings like I feel like you can in most romance books. You're like, oh, they're gonna end up together. But like I feel like the story throughout the way is what kind of is unexpected about each book.
Okay, so then of all 3 of the books, which one would you say is like your favorite?
Yeah, my favorite is definitely the last one, which was The Final Offer. I really liked the characters in that one, and that one wasn't set at Dreamland. The first one was, the second one kind of was, but that one was set at like a lake house, and I liked that vibe more than it being set at like actually Dreamland. I like that.
Let me see these books.
Yes,
for a second.
look at them.
Like, look at this.
They're so cute.
So
the covers just
cute.
make it.
Like that, honestly, is why I would read it. Like, why is the cover so cute?
Yeah, and they all get longer. They get longer and longer as you read.
Yep.
So
this one goes big.
Yep. They get longer and longer. But yeah, I love them. They're so good. They're so easy to read too. It's not like trying to decipher a foreign language.
So if you had to like rate that one, what would you rate it?
I rated all of them 4 stars, but The Final Offer was still my favorite. I just liked the characters, and I liked the whole like setting of the whole book the best.
Like, cause it kind of gives you like what it's about, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, like we'll have to leave you guys to your reading because you have like 4 good books. So Say You Swear and the 3 trilogy, the Fine Print series. You gotta read it. So we'll leave you to your reading. I'm Emily Regalado.
And I'm Hannah Algie.
And we'll see you next time on the chat box.
See you next time.